Episode number next. I'm Matt.
I'm Amy.
Welcome to the show. We have a really good show tonight.
Yeah.
Really good show. We got a couple of guys that do hand-carved signs using routers. They're absolutely fascinating. I put a link to their channel in the description. It's going to be Mr. Eric and Ryan Rhoten, and they are some of the most talented people I've ever seen. And they're going to show you some cool stuff tonight. And then also we're going to talk woodworking business. They're doing this full time, Mr. Eric. Father and son. And then their wife also works with them. Eric's wife, Vicky, works with them. It's going to be a really good show, y'all. They got a lot of knowledge to share with you. Multi-generational and a family-owned business. I love it. I absolutely love it. They get to do chase their dream and live out their dream working for themselves, and that's fantastic. So they're going to share their knowledge with you. If you have any questions, once they're on, just type a Q and then ask your questions. We'll try to field the questions and ask them. If we don't get it, please ask again. And then you can always, if you're watching on a live stream, comment on this video. I'm sure they'll be more than welcome to come back and try to answer your questions.
I get to be back with you guys.
She's back.
Week. Thank you all so much for showing so much love to Mo last week. She did a great job filling in for me.
She did really good.
Go ahead and drop those states in the comments, and we will give you a shout out later.
Yeah. All right. Sawdust Spotlight from our community. If you're not a part of the community, it's 731 Woodworks. Nope. It's facebook.com/groups/731Woodworks. This week's Sawdust Spotlight picked by our daughter is, what happened?
I have no idea what you're doing. You and your
buttons.
You're pushing buttons.
Jack, I don't know how to spell your last name or pronounce it. I'm sorry.
It's really long, but they're having their first child.
They're having their first child. Look at that. He built a crib. He said, I decided I wanted to build a crib and did it. That is fantastic.
I love
Absolutely
it.
Beautiful. Good job.
It's super cool because it's their first baby.
Yep.
And they built their own crib for it.
Yeah, that's a really good job.
I'm assuming that they've never built a crib before because he said, I decided to build it. So that's super cool. So
yep. That's what happens when you make your mind up to do something. Yeah. You just do it.
I hope they post a picture of the baby. We should do the gender reveal on the community.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I would totally be okay with that. Moderators, don't get rid of that. I don't think they would.
Mail call.
We
went to the post office box this week. I don't always go like I should, but I went this week. And
I got the other stuff, Becca, because we finally went, and they're awesome.
We got a sticker in from Resilient on a sticker swap. If you're interested in sticker swapping us, just give us a shout on email or social media. Also, Splinters to Planks sent us a very nice card. I don't know if they want it read on air, so I won't, but it was extremely nice.
And they made these.
For Miss 731. Some pot holders, knitted, hand knitted.
Job.
Beautiful. Absolutely awesome.
They really are.
And then he sent me this police pin, and it's got Protect and Serve across the bottom, badge on the top, and a blue line right there. Cool. And it's kind of the shape of a bullet right there on the end. It's a beautiful pin. Thank you, man.
It really is.
Really appreciate that.
Good job.
Now I fiddle with this stuff the rest of the show.
Yeah, let's just take it away from you, okay? I know how you are.
Dan Dixon, if you want to submit something to the Sawdust Spotlight, what's the best way to do that? We let our daughter pick it because she's absolutely unbiased and knows zero about woodworking. So she picks what's pretty or what she likes, and sometimes she picks things I'm like, why don't you pick that? She's like, it's my pick. I get to pick what I want. I like it. So that's kind of how we do it. It may change in the future as she loses interest, but so far that's why we do it, is because she has no
background.
She don't care. She just picks what stands out to her, and it's just kind of, in my mind, an unbiased pick. So that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah.
Well, y'all ready for the guest?
I am.
Let's see if I can do it right. Here we go. Mr. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Eric, and that's Ryan.
Yeah, it'll pop up. Yep, that's Ryan and Eric. Eric on the left and Ryan on the right. You guys have your own business, and you were telling me you started at a pretty young age. Am I right?
Yes, sir. My father actually started the business in about 1970. I was 10 years old, and shortly after that, he was going full-time at the time, right out the gate, quit his job, and just started doing it full-time. And my brother and I at the time went around selling signs door to door around the neighborhood, and that's kind of how it started. We started selling signs, and then later on we sold through dealers. But yeah, so I've been basically self-employed, I guess, from 10, 11, 12 years old.
That is awesome.
Wow, that's so cool.
So have you ever worked anywhere else, or is this it?
For a short time in the 90s, I actually still worked the company, the business, but I actually had a job in the corporate system, inside sales for a big corporation. And about 2 years of that made me realize that that wasn't for me. I'll put it really nicely
Yeah.
that it would have ended really ugly had I stayed much longer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's hard. I told her, it was only a few weeks after I had been doing this full time. I told her, I was like, I would be an awful employee right now to someone else. It is,
Yeah.
man, it's awesome.
Once you do this, I think it's hard to try to go back to a
Yeah,
different
because
job.
you're doing what you want when you want. I mean, you still have obligations, obviously, and you still have deadlines and all that, but you kind of pick and choose what you want to do. Mr. Grant
Well,
Butler
and what
wants.
I found
I'm
is
sorry. Go
in
ahead.
the corporate system, what I found was the lack of control. I was
Mhm.
used to being the one that solved the issues, that solved the problems for the customers or whatever. And when you're in a corporate system, you can only do so much, and then you pass it on to somebody else. And then when they drop the ball, that makes you look bad. And boy,
Right.
it just happened way too often. I had to get out.
Too many. Yeah. I'm just gonna hush right there. I'm gonna keep writing my states and pretend like I have
I
nothing
printed
to
you off a
say.
thing, a checklist.
Did you?
Yep. Mr. Grant Butler wants to know where you guys are from, and I'll add on to that and ask where they can follow you at on social media.
So we are, well, here, you talk a little bit. I've been talking too much.
Well, we're based out of Golden Valley, Arizona, a little town by Kingman, Arizona, and I live in California, unfortunately, but so I come and work for mom and dad for 2 weeks, then I go back home for a week, and I have my wife and my daughter over there, and then come back here for 2 weeks. So we're in Arizona. That's where the company's based, and we're on YouTube at Old Dave 100, and then Instagram.
Make a wood sign on Instagram.
Yep, make a wood sign on Instagram and Facebook, right?
And then Facebook too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a website.
Either my last. Yes, we have a website as well, which is makeawoodsign.com.
So can anyone order a sign from you?
Well, yes. Yes. To be honest, I don't. Most of the signs that we do these days are not commission jobs. Most of the time, like the one we'll show your sign here in a little bit, we do take commission jobs, but I kind of raised my prices to the point where I didn't get a lot of commission jobs just because I was so busy creating content, doing the collaborations like exactly the way I reached out to you. And so I had to kind of try and find a way. We still do commission work. We make signs all the time, but most of the signs that we make, we're actually giving away because we use that as a marketing thing, either for content for the channel or like one we did for you, or any number of different other woodworkers or influencers. We make a sign with their logo on it, and then they expose what we do to their audience. And that's actually, I listened to one of your broadcasts the other day, and you talked about Gary Vaynerchuk. I was actually on his show about 6 years ago. I had my video on his show, and I wanted advice on what to do, and it was his advice said reach out to these other influencers and offer to make them a sign and have them give you a shout out. And that's what I've been doing for about 6 years now.
That's awesome.
That literally is actually how we've grown from 7,500 subscribers at the time to now we've got 45,000, something like that. So we're still tiny, but we're getting there.
What I like about your content, though, is it's a teaching content too. You get to watch what you're doing, but you're also teaching people as they go. And so much so that you have your own router bases that you sell to fit people's routers. And then if I'm not mistaken, you had a course that people could take on your website too.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
training.
And that, what I have found over the last, especially over the last 10 years, as much as I love making signs, and I absolutely do, even after 50 years, I love it. What really kind of pushes my buttons, what really gets me excited is teaching. That's what I really love to do.
That's awesome.
And I guess Amy can probably.
Yeah, I looked up when you said, I'm over here reading states, and when you said that, I looked up.
That's awesome. Have you guys? I haven't checked your course out, but how is your course structured? Do you have a full course, or is it like mini courses? How does that work?
So we actually have what do we have?
We got
Three
three
courses
right
now. One of them is right on the website, and it's a free course, and it's called 7 Steps to Sign Carving Basics. It basically is just structured down piece by piece, everything that someone would need to know, the basics of how to create a routed sign, a freehand routed sign. And then we have a couple paid courses. One of them is how to carve anything inset, which is we have something inset. This would be like considered inset letters.
Oh, okay.
These would be considered let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm backwards.
There you go.
That would be considered inset letters.
Yeah.
Whereas, other stuff is outset. So there's a course just on everything that you would need to know to create inset letters. And then we just posted a new course the other day on basics on selling online. Selling your signs online, just the basics.
Yeah. That's a lot of people want to know about that, selling online. That's a hot topic.
Yeah,
It definitely is. Yeah.
It's because it's just such a broad audience, such a bigger market to be able to market to be able to get more customers.
Right.
Todd,
absolutely.
Tad Sarver says, have you paid for any licensing to do collegiate work? He lives in a college town, debating on applying for the license to avoid copyright problems.
No, I have not. So I always say, obviously we're not lawyers and we can't give any legal advice.
That's right.
There's my disclaimer. But I always say, if that's the way you want to go, if that's the niche, one of the things that I teach primarily is find a niche, and that's a really good niche. So one of the things that I teach, that I say is, definitely don't do anything illegal. But one way that I have found, that I've kind of found over the years, if you want to do that, what you might do, and again, check with your attorney and all of that, but what you might do is you might take a decal or some kind of applique that is already licensed. It already has a license, whether it's an NFL team or a collegiate team, and add that to a carved personalized sign. Like say Cowboys, #1 Cowboys fan. Take a purchase of a product that has that logo on it, put that on your product, and then say, #1, Brian, #1 Cowboys fan, or something like that.
That's genius. I'd have never thought about that. That's genius.
Well, I don't think about much else.
Jeff Lineman says, do you guys do live edge wood signs?
Yes, absolutely. That's become a big thing lately.
There's one on the wall behind them,
right over Ryan's head.
There's several of those now, but those behind us, those actually were made for us from some of our students.
Oh, that's
some
awesome.
Of the people that follow us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the live edge thing is really big right now.
Jason Harrison says, how is Eric's business evolving now? Ryan is on board with his fresh eyes and ideas.
Oh, it is. And for those that don't know, my father passed away a year ago, and my dad was 87 when he passed. And over the last, 5-10 years, it's almost like he kind of not lost his passion for it, but just wasn't as ambitious and kind of outward thinking from a business standpoint for our business as he was. And bringing Ryan on, man, I'm blessed. It's a dream that I've had for decades to have Ryan working with me, and it's just worked out. He called me, and it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely he's doing a lot of editing, so many different things that we're evolving now that would not be happening if Ryan wasn't here.
So did Ryan do something else before this then?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things, a lot of different jobs. My career, I did 15 years in the construction industry.
Oh.
And I commuted from where I lived in California. I commuted to the Bay Area every day. And the last, 15 years of it, the last 10 years of it were miserable. And it was a rough way to survive.
Yeah.
And then I tried a couple other different things. I still have one other just kind of little small business where I teach firearm instruction and stuff. But the way God worked it out, man, everything kind of fell apart. And I called my dad. I said, Dad, what do you think about this? Why don't I come to work for you? And I was halfway expecting him to say, son, I don't think it'll work out. But everything worked out great. And I started here January 1st.
Yep.
January 1st is when I officially became part of the business.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the dad it's the prodigal son return is the vision I get in the Bible. And he says, while he was a long way off, the dad run to him. I figure that's kind of like Eric was. He's like, oh yeah, come on.
Yeah. Sometimes things work out in strange and.
I would absolutely love it if at some point our kids wanted to work for us to do this and to take it over at some point, because I ain't gonna do this forever. And at some point it's gonna have to come to an end. It's just the way things are. And if they could take the business, and our goal is not to have just a YouTube channel. Our goal is to have a business or multiple businesses actually to help diversify and to be able to pass that on to your kids. And that's just something
what I think is so cool about you guys.
And Ryan's going to feel, you feel the same way, Ryan. When you see your kids, you want them to be successful and not have to struggle like you did. And that's, it's just one of the, it's one of the things you start seeing when you own your own business, and especially if it's growing and you're like, I would love to do this.
That's what somebody left a comment, and I meant to get back to it, but somebody, I don't know who it was that left a comment and said that you guys, your story is beautiful because it's a multi-generational thing, because it started, with one and then it went to a different generation and now you have another generation on there. That's awesome. What's so cool to me.
Amazing.
Yeah, we actually have a fourth generation as well. It was because my grandson is 19 years old. His name's Eric as well. He actually works for us full time and does production and making products and stuff. So that's another generation.
Yeah.
I swear we're having a talk with all three of our kids tonight. One of them is going to learn how to pack an envelope tonight. One of them. One of these kids are going to learn something.
If I could teach one of them to run the CNC and just do that, like they could do it a few hours a week and just keep us in product, because that's one of the things I just don't have time. Like you would think it would be simple to go out there and set it up and cut it. It's just time. It's just time don't have.
Yeah.
And Jim Moulter says.
Yeah. I was telling Dad the other day.
Jim Moulter, yeah.
Oh, Jim Moulter, yeah.
He said you
I
need
was
your
telling
fidget spinner.
Dad the other day, it's amazing for sign carvers how little sign carving we actually do. There's so much other stuff that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Jim Moulter, I just saw that that post from Jim. He's one of our regulars that watches, and I generally, my hands just have to keep moving. I generally have a fidget spinner in my hand, and I'm just constantly doing something.
That's why they tell me not to push buttons, because all these buttons are here.
Steph
and I'll
wants
push
to know if we'll adopt her. We'll adopt you, Steph.
We got you.
We'll adopt you. We would love for our kids to be interested in something. Now, I say that all three of our children are in the education field.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really say that because I'm a school teacher. My daughter teaches middle school. I teach middle school. My oldest son is at a college campus. He works at a university here. My youngest son is in college to be a history professor. I can't really say much. So can't say a whole lot because they did follow Mama's footsteps a little, so can't say a whole lot. But
I just tell them chase their dream. If that's their dream, go for it. Your dream's not my dream. My dream's not your dream.
Exactly.
If you want to come to work for us and we can make it happen, we'll do what we can. You know, I don't think we're at that point yet, but hopefully one day. But man, it would be cool. But
all three of ours aspire to teach at universities. All three of them. Our oldest son's already at a university here. And I think he'll be at this university. I think
he'll be there.
I don't think
he fits in good there.
He fits in well there. He loves it, and I think that's where he'll stay. Our daughter, I think she teaches middle school now. She wants to move and teach at a college somewhere else later, and our youngest son wants to move. But they all followed their mama's footsteps, so I can't say much.
You know, and that's terrific if that's what they want to do. Yep. But you know, people's minds change, things evolve. Who knows? You guys just, for me, I thought that what I do, I thought, you know, Dad and I talked about it many, many times. I thought it would just end with me. I really did. I never figured that Ryan would come on, but I just kept going and going and you know, just being the example for your kids of doing the right things and doing what you love. Who knows? You know, God can do some strange things.
Yep.
Well, it took me 37 years to figure out I wanted to do it. Yeah. You know, so I mean, you never know.
You never know.
You know, in that same view, you've got tons of experience outside of the wood carving business that your dad doesn't have. So you bring in a ton of fresh eyes and fresh ideas that may not have been possible before. So that could be a blessing in disguise there.
Yeah, and we've talked about kind of different, you know, the different mindsets when it comes to the business and stuff, and we have different viewpoints on it, but it always works.
Yeah, we seem to be able to, I don't know, collaborate from that standpoint on, especially when it comes to kind of brainstorming, coming up with ideas for either products or things that we could do to get, you know, now we're going to go out and start teaching a lot more on site. We're doing a big extravaganza thing in Las Vegas at the Woodcraft store in Las Vegas, where we're going to be there during their big event. And
That's
we're
awesome.
going to be there for 3 days teaching, you know, doing demos. And we really enjoy that. That's so
the
much
most fun, man.
Oh, my gosh.
When you get out and you get to talk to people and just kind of interact face to face, that's the funnest part.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
a blast.
We want to do more of that too. We want to be able to get out and meet and greet and
There's
things
so
like
many
that.
people on here we want to.
How far are you guys from Las Vegas?
We're only about an hour and a half. It's
We
we're
had to have
way
drove
north
right by.
Arizona, so we're only about an hour and a half from Las Vegas.
We come into Vegas back in January. Was it?
Yeah.
January, we flew into Vegas and drove up to
Mount
Zion in Utah.
Oh,
Right through the corner of Arizona.
Very pretty.
Yep.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Not Vegas, really.
It was cold.
Vegas was pretty, but Vegas was not our cup of tea.
It's not our speed.
But Utah is
was
stunning.
beautiful.
It's so beautiful up there.
Especially in the Mount Zion region. It was just really pretty.
Yeah. Vegas was pretty too, but the Vegas lights was Vegas was just different.
Yeah.
We're from Arkansas.
Vegas is a whole nother experience.
Yeah. We're rednecks, man. When we hit the strip, we're like, these people weird.
Freddie Krueger touched me.
If I'd have known, he'd had a nightmare too. I didn't know it.
He had his fingernails like doing this, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Becca. Becca said all three of our children are changing lives. Thank you for saying that, Becca. I think so too.
That's right. Yep.
The Freddy Krueger thing was just weird. Ooh. Okay. That's a tangent.
Yeah, tangent alert. That's all right.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So do you have any advice for somebody that is wanting to go full-time, wanting to chase the full-time dream? I get tons of questions on, basically how to get started, how to grow the business, any tips, tricks, information you can give them on just running a business in general.
I think that from my perspective, that what I kind of share with my audience is find a niche, find something that is a niche. Again, sign carving is a very small niche in the grand scheme of woodworking. We're a really very small niche. But even within that, there are niches, different things that you can do, like that gone fishing sign that we just showed. It could be, funny signs. It could be, big ranch signs. It could be, all different kinds of things. Find a niche that, especially if it kind of fits with your lifestyle and your community, that you could then go out and share not only online but share in person. One of the things that I teach is, this is just a kind of a standard sign that we have, but it has a kind of a different look to it. It's kind of like a biker sign.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I teach when people want to learn how to sell these is just, if you've got a really cool looking product, just take it wherever you go. If you go to a restaurant, if you go to Home Depot, if you go wherever you go, just grab that sign and carry it around with you. What happens is it will sell itself.
Yeah.
People will ask you questions. Where'd you get
That's
that?
good advice.
Yeah, it just is. So once you find a good product, once you create a good product and you've got that part of it down, then just get it in front of as many eyeballs as you can. But one of the kind of the little tricks that I've learned is, you just carry a good looking sign with you wherever you go, and you'll find sales. They'll find you.
That's awesome. I think that's where a lot of people, myself included, just
because people
you come up short, and you sell yourself short, and you can't. It's a communication thing. You're nervous about approaching people. You're nervous about asking for the sale. That's one of the things I've had to learn. Just in the channel, saying, "Hey, we got bill plans available," or whatever we're offering at the time that we're making, trying to make a living with. That you have to be willing to do that, and carrying that sign is just another genius tip.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Thank you, OC Beavers.
Most of the people are really nervous. They have that connotation that you have to sell something.
Yeah.
But if you have a way to get your product in front of people, that product will sell. Will do all the selling. All you're going to do is answer questions.
Yeah.
How much is it? How long does it take? What can you do? So all you're doing is answering questions, and the product will sell itself. Fortunately, we have a product that most of the time you can carry it around. It's tough to do that with a dining room table,
right?
But you got to work with what you got,
Yeah.
But your product, if you're making a good product, it sells itself. Just get it in front of people.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yep. I noticed, which they didn't have the best setup, but when I went to Walmart here to get something a couple of days ago, I was dropping you off. Yeah, when I dropped you off the other day, there were two ladies who had made some wood signs. They had set up a little plastic table. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. They had a little plastic table set up outside of the doorway.
They were probably raising money if I had it, because I don't think Walmart
wood signs though.
Yeah,
they have wood signs, and they were very timid about holding up their wood signs. And so our daughter was in the car with me when I dropped him off at the door, and we were circling, and I had to drive by like 8 times waiting on him to come out, and I never could figure out what their signs were because they were so timid about holding their signs up. I didn't know what they had. And I actually was purposely trying to figure out what they were selling, mainly because I was nosy. But I was purposely trying to figure out what they were trying to sell. It was 2 young girls, maybe early 20s. And I was like, they're never going to sell this and nobody knows what they're selling. But every time I would go by and people were walking in and out, they would take a drink from their water bottle. They would pick up a sign and they would have it flat in front of them instead of holding it up. And I was like, I have no idea what they're trying to sell. They never once held up the sign to show what it was. I never saw it. So I don't know what they were selling.
We actually, we made friends with Clay Guida, who's a UFC fighter, because my wife and we went to the Sportsman's Expo in Sacramento, California, and I had made a sign for somebody to deliver it to him. And I had hip surgery. I was in a wheelchair. So my wife's wheeling me around this Sportsman's Expo, and I got a sign, and we went up to a booth, and Chad Mendez and Clay Guida were right there. And Clay, he said, man, that's an awesome sign. And we just started talking and stuff. And him and Chad both ended up ordering signs from me for their guide business, good sized signs. And
then we became friends with Clay. We're actually going down to Florida next week or a couple weeks to go fishing with Clay. And,
and it all happened just because I had a sign. I was walking around a crowded area, and it was, it's hunters and fishermen, and the sign was hunting based. So again, that's a niche. And I had a niche sign walking into people that were, interested in that particular subject. And then people just ask all the time. And, you never know what can happen when you bump into the right person holding the right product, you get out there and give it a shot.
Right. Hey.
What's up?
You know what time it is?
Power tip time. Mr. Eric, do you have a power tip for us?
Yeah. I was thinking about this, and it generally speaking, I would share something to do with business, but this one is a little bit different. Next week will be a year that my father passed. And about 5 years ago, an idea came to my mind, and it really was kind of fostered because they'd see my dad on the channel, in his 80s, and he was really the hook. I mean, he was the star of the show when he was on. And people would say, "Oh man, I wish I had a chance to get my dad or my grandpa on the channel, on video." And so it got me to thinking about it. It's like, I knew at that point, it was about, 4 or 5 years ago, I knew I only had so many days with my dad. And so I created something, Dad and I both created something called, we call it Senior Moments. I think hopefully Vicki will get that phone. Something called Senior Moments. And so every week, every Saturday, we had an episode of Dave's Senior Moments. And it could be a funny story from when he was a kid. It could be about his country music affiliation. It could be he was out doing a project in the yard. It could be anything. It could be when we were on the road and he was just telling a story about when him and mom were raising the kids. It could be anything. And I am so thankful and blessed that I had that vision that I wanted my dad on video. And then I got to think, and people would say that, "Oh, it's so great how you get your dad on video." Well, but here's the point. The point is that we all have, or most of us have kids, or most of us have people that love us around us. I try to urge people, get yourself on video. What would it be like if we could go back and see our grandparents or our great-grandparents or our great-great-grandparents, not just an old black and white picture, but actually see them on video and learn who they are and what they do? That's a technology that we have available to us. This is the first generation that can say that. The way I look at it is every time we do a video, Ryan and I do a video, I'm thinking at some point my great grandkids hopefully will be able to see this. They'll know who I am, what I do, what I've done. So I encourage everybody, whether it's business related, whether it's just your thoughts, whether it could be anything, reading the newspaper, whatever it is, get yourself on video so that your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids can learn who you are.
That's awesome. I like that.
Everybody's like, "Man, I wish I had those. I wish I had those."
I could, like, my grandpa was probably one of my favorite people on earth. Passed away many years ago. He basically raised me. I stayed at his house from the time I can remember. And if I had some of that on video, man, it would be awesome.
Yeah. It's priceless. It really is priceless. And now I have, 82 episodes that I did with my dad of those senior moments. There was 82 episodes. We did the last one 8 days before he passed away, where he was out working in the dirt out there, kicking some dirt around. And now I know, unless Jesus comes back before, who knows, but if YouTube stays around another 2 or 3 generations, I know my kids, my great grandkids, my great great grandkids, at some point can go back and learn who my dad was.
Yeah.
And that's priceless.
Yep.
To me.
You can't put money on that.
Nope.
Nope.
I'll have plenty of those videos of my dogs. I need more videos of my kids.
Their camera shot. Kent Dollison says, without knowing a lot about Eric's business, what is his thoughts on CNCs?
That's a question that I get every once in a while. I super am impressed with what CNCs can do, and I have so much respect for people that make stuff with CNCs, and specifically signs, because that's my niche. However, I think that there is always, and people ask me, is CNCs going to put freehand sign carving out of business and put them away? But my take on it is there's a market for both sides. And I think that there's a huge market for people that know that there's some craftsmanship. Not that there isn't, and I don't ever diss the guys that are making signs with CNCs. I don't do that, but I think that there's something to be said, and there's a generation uniqueness. Or there's a population that want to see something that's freehand carved, and it's just. I think it'll always be there, or that's one of my goals too. I want to keep this thing going.
Right.
That's why we teach as many people as we can to freehand sign carve. So I remember when I was a little kid, there was a lot of them. You couldn't go to a fair or a flea market or anything without seeing a freehand sign carver. And then all of a sudden it seemed to die out. There wasn't very many people doing it, at least where I was. And so it's one of my kind of ambitions to keep this thing going and teach as many people as I can so they can get out there and keep it going and grow it.
Well, I think that, you're putting a personal touch to it. I can go throw the same sign on the CNC and make it out of whatever material and batch out 100 of them, and they're all going to be exactly the same. And the only thing I've done was sanded it and put some finish on it. And yours will have the human element to it, and none of them is going to be exactly the same.
Do you remember those when they had them in Warren, when they had the Bradley County Pink Tomato Festival? We used to have a festival.
Craft fair thing.
Yeah. Warren had something called the Bradley County Pink Tomato Festival. It was
world famous.
It really was. It was huge, and they had this huge craft
200
fair.
People showed up.
No, it was a huge thing that they used to do. Hush, Shenandoah came.
Yeah, left me behind the gate.
No, hush. So, different story. He got mad. Anyway, it was a huge fair that
they
we
had
had.
A lot of people come.
It was a huge thing that Arkansas had, and Warren is a very small town, very, very small. But this festival was huge, and they had handcrafted crafts at this, and they had those handmade wood signs like that for years, and they stopped having those. How many years ago? Maybe
several.
Gosh, 7 or 8 years ago, people stopped making them, and they don't have them anymore. All they have now, when they do have that, it's a small fair now, but all they have now are the little things that are like, I don't even know if they're made on a CNC, but they're the little laser cut things that are flimsy little things. They're not the handmade things anymore, but they used to have these beautiful hand carved different things, and they would make them for you in front of you. You could have them custom made. Right. Sometimes you would have to come get it the next day because the fair would last, or the festival would last 2 or 3 days. So you may have to order it that day and come get it a day or two later. But they would set up these tents, and they would literally live there for 2 or 3 days. The people that would come in, they would drive in and set up campers or tents and things. And it was so cool. These custom things,
and I grew up doing that. From the time I was 15, 16 years old. Dad and I were doing flea markets or horse shows or county fairs or state fairs or craft shows. There's a little town out here called Rhoten, Arizona, which is like a little country western town. They have gunfights in the streets and at noon, and wooden sidewalks and that kind of thing. And I was the sign carver there for 6 years, where I literally went up there 4 or 5 days a week, and I was carving signs for people while they waited. Exactly the same thing. I've done that all my life. That's one of the things that I really, really love to do.
Like, you could get them where you could put, have have your house number or something put on one to hang beside your door, or they even had trash cans that you could put a bag in, and like they would carve something on it that said trash, or I mean they had all kinds of stuff. They would have an onion bin that they would carve onions, the word onions on it. I mean, it was all these handcrafted things that were told. I mean, who needs an onion bin? But still, it was just cool because it was handmade. It's like I wanted an onion bin. Just because it was handmade. Don't make fun of me.
I'm with Tracy. He said, "Let's see the sign, please."
Oh yeah,
Tracy is a great sign carver as well.
Yeah.
So here's the one I did for you guys.
Look at that. God,
so pretty.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
We've been trying to figure out where we want to put it.
Oh, it's going
We've
in
been
the shop.
arguing over it. He wants to put it in the shop, and I want to put it in the studio.
That is amazing.
So it's out of a big piece of cedar.
It's so pretty.
Actually, one of our guys gave us, and so it's freehand carved, and then we did some power carving on there as well. Gosh, if I could hold it straight.
There you go.
That's
so
pretty.
pretty.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and that's what we've kind of evolved from just routing. Now we're starting to do more and more power carving along with the routing, and man, it's a blast.
That is beautiful. Man, I can't thank you enough for that.
That's so crazy.
I can't wait to get it. We're arguing over where to put it. I want it in the shop so it'll be on the videos more often. She wants it. We got a similar one above this door that's white that somebody carved for us. It's right above this door coming into the studio here. It just kind of says, "Hey, this is the 731 studio." But I want that one in the shop. I don't know. And she's wanting it in here, so we'll see. She'll probably win.
We'll see. See what.
Well, it was a pleasure making it, and we appreciate you guys. This is way beyond. I generally ask for some kind of a shout out or something, but this is way beyond what what we normally get to do. So we just thank you guys for inviting us on and listening to us babble for a while.
Oh no!
Oh, we love the opportunity.
It was fun, and everyone loved having you on here.
A lot of your people are here, and I just appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and most of all, if anybody's interested in their content, I'll put a link in the description to their channel, or you can follow them on social media and things like that. You'll have a video on this sign carving?
Oh yeah, we've got 2 videos or 3? 3 videos on the making of this that we'll post probably a week after the next, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And
you just let me know when they release, and I'll put them on the community tab and on my social so people can go check it out.
Absolutely, I will. So yeah, there's quite a few. We do 4 videos a week, and we've got over 1,700 videos. So there's a bunch.
So Kevin R has a question. What would something similar to that sell for? So if you were making a sign for any random person, or if someone else was making a sign, what would you recommend them pricing their signs at? I guess would probably be for me, if I was selling that sign, that would be that'd probably be at least $300. But that's fair.
More
than fair.
That for me, that is kind of for me. But if somebody else is doing it, they kind of have to figure out their own pricing. But again, I don't sell a lot of signs these days. I pretty much, which is weird because I give my signs away, but it's we make our money really on like what you were talking about, the router base plates. We have all different kinds of products that we sell, like the gone fishing sign that we showed. We actually we have lasers that laser cut these stencils so that people can lay that right on the board and spray it, and then they've got a line to go by, and that's a big portion of what we sell of our products that we sell.
That's awesome.
Everyone thinks that price is low for the work that was put into it.
That's a beautiful sign. I think you're underselling yourself.
Yeah, everybody's
there,
like, no, that price is too low.
But yeah, those stencils, stuff like that is because then they can make their own, and then you got your own guides and things to help them carve better, be able to have more control on the routers.
We have a series of router bits that we recommend that we use on the channel. So we have all kinds of different products, whether it's base plates or router bits or stencils or or templates. We've got hundreds of products on our website.
Do you have like a starter kit? Like if somebody just has no idea what they need and they can get these X number of things to get them started in a bundle?
Cool. Yeah, we have 2 beginner kits, a small one and a large one that gives them router bits, gives them stencils, layout letters, and just depending on which size they buy. But yeah, we do have beginner kits right on the website.
Awesome. What's your website again?
It's makeawoodsign.com, just like it sounds.
Awesome.
Makeawoodsign.com.
That's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Again, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I greatly appreciate the sign. It's absolutely beautiful, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on. And
thank y'all so much.
also, Miss Vicky behind the scenes.
Guys.
It's been a blast. I was a little bit nervous because you guys are some pretty big fishes out there.
We're just regular folks.
So thank you for making us feel comfortable.
Thank y'all for joining. It's been wonderful meeting you guys.
Yep.
It was great meeting you. Hopefully we'll get back that way. Or if you guys come to Vegas again, definitely give me a shout. We'll come up and we'll go to dinner or something.
That'd be great.
Sounds good. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
All right. You too.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right.
That was awesome.
It was.
They are really cool. He's doing some amazing work. That was beautiful work. I'm going to let her call out them states because she's chomping at the bit.
Let me give you my states, but those beautiful sign. Okay, so let me give you my states. I made a huge mess of my paper. Look, it's a hot mess.
It is a hot mess.
It's
I got a checklist over there.
You didn't tell me you printed it. Oh, okay. So we have St. Martin, Vermont, South Dakota, Virginia Beach, Illinois, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, New York, California, Arkansas, including Ashley County with Big House, Arizona, Michigan, Ohio, Alabama, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Michigan, Texas, Canada, Oklahoma, Washington State, Missouri, Maryland, Minnesota, Iowa, and it's Minnesota.
85.
Iowa,
here.
Kentucky, Georgia, Massachusetts, Colorado, Idaho, Wisconsin, Indiana, Mississippi, whoop, whoop, and Beech Grove, Indiana. I had to say it just like that. I promised somebody that I would. So
y'all do meet. No, it's not early. We just let them go so that they would take up all the time.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much
for
welcoming our guests on there. They were wonderful.
Do me a huge favor and go subscribe to him. I'll put a link in this description. Check out his website. They got some really cool stuff. He reached out to me and offered to make me the sign. And
Steph, ours was buffering too. Mine's buffering right now.
Oh, it may be because we dropped them off.
I think it's because he made that switch. Mine just stopped, so it may be fixing now. Everybody's buffering, so give it a minute. Give it a minute because everybody's buffering.
Same here. I'm buffering.
Everybody's buffering.
It's not just me. Stand by.
Try to fix it. He pushed buttons.
I didn't push a button.
He pushed a bunch of buttons.
I got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Oh my gosh. Seriously.
Are we back?
I don't know. I'm still
live?
buffering. I don't know what's going on. I don't think I'm live now.
Click the live button. Right there.
What?
Click the live button.
What live button?
Right there.
I'm live.
Hover. Are we live?
Mine's never the same as yours. Mine's always a few seconds behind.
All right. So we'll continue on. Are we here?
I don't know.
I'm here. Internet. I'm here.
Thank y'all. They said that.
I just need to know that we're not buffering anymore. Great job.
I don't know if we're still buffering. Married man said to go easy on those buttons.